Hello Rebel and welcome back to my life. So on Friday, Megan and I ran to see Black Panther in the theater, as did everyone else apparently, based on how many box office records the movie is smashing. I'm a big fan of the Marvel movies, as you probably know. I usually walk out of the theater bouncing up and down with excitement. But I walked out of Black Panther almost completely silent. Not because I was disappointed, but because I was a little bit stunned. I had seen the hype building up online, right? And I tried not to let myself be influenced by it. You don't want to go see a movie with your expectations set too high, because then even a very good movie can be disappointing. But to be honest, I couldn't stop myself from getting caught up in it, and I went in to see Black Panther super hyped. And to my complete surprise, the hype really failed to live up to the film. After the credits rolled, and in all the time that I've spent thinking about it since, it has been impossible to avoid the fact that this movie is not just really good, but incredibly important. There's hardly a single character in the movie who couldn't get their own solo film. They are all interesting and vibrant and different from each other. And at the same time, very, very different from the same old characters we get over and over again, not just in every Marvel film, but in most mainstream Hollywood films in general. And to top it off, they're presented to us in a setting that's unlike anything we've seen in blockbuster cinema, that is unique and intriguing in a way that Hollywood just doesn't seem to bother with anymore. That's not to say that it's not without its problems. We can't expect any film that is so deeply political and yet also the product of a global multi-billion-dollar corporation not to have some questionable themes and treatments of its characters. For example, early versions of the script had an explicitly LGBT relationship that was taken out. And there is an inherent problem in having the film's main villain also be the most prominent example of black radicalism. And I've dropped some links in the doobly-doo to some people who have been talking about these things in much greater detail and from a viewpoint that is miles more qualified than mine. As always, when I drop links to other people's work in the doobly-doo, particularly marginalized people, I would appreciate it if you would actually go click and read those things. They're very good. We should always be able to have a nuanced discussion about the art we consume and what could be improved in it, even when we're mostly extremely happy with it. And yeah, from a Disney film, and a Marvel film in particular, I think this is the best movie we could possibly have gotten, and it is going to be hard for anything to surpass this new high benchmark for a very long time. I've said it before, I will say it again, diverse storytelling is good storytelling. Audiences are realizing that stories exist that do not default to the same old cis-het, white, able-bodied, straight dudes, and that creators exist who can tell those stories. And the corporations who control global art distribution are slowly waking up to that fact as well. And they are waking up too slowly, but they are waking up. And since that process has begun, there have always been the naysayers who say this type of film will not work, that it will not earn back the money, as though that's the only proof of whether art is valid or not, and that the default that we've been fed for so many decades is the default because it's the only type of story worth telling. But they are wrong, and they are being proven wrong with every new step forward, with every opportunity that is not given to marginalized creators, but which is wrested from the hands of gatekeepers who have frankly never seen these works as being equal. If you haven't seen Black Panther yet, please go see it. See it now. Don't wait. Decades from now, some of the biggest filmmakers in the business are going to say that this was the film that started them down their career path, like so many have said about Lord of the Rings, like so many have said about Star Wars, like they've said about every timeless classic since movies have been a thing. And if the previous generation is any indicator, you are going to want to be able to say that you were there from the beginning. That's all I've got for you today, Rebel. You can check out my last video on the channel right up there. And also, I really appreciate all of you who support me over on my Patreon, where you can see my secret weekend videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye!